They asked him, what do you think about Iran? Would you hit Iran? And he goes, as long as they don't hit the nuclear stuff. That's the thing you want to hit, right? Going to hurt Iran. They wanted to make a deal because I told China, if you buy 1 barrel of oil, you're not ever doing business in the United States again.
All right, guys, we're going to get right into it, guys. We got this guy, Trump, yapping about his strategy or how he's going to approach the situation with Iran. Because really, guys, we're in a catastrophic position and situation that, the few months ahead of us, we could be seeing some drastic escalations in that region and the entire world, really, like a World War III type scenario, guys. And one wrong move can cost a lot of lives and can, really drag a bunch of people into a mess that shouldn't have been started. And you got people like this guy, sitting around making his speeches saying that, he wants to use nuclear. He said it himself. He wants to use nuclear weapons on Iran, which would be a very deadly and really idiotic decision. And I'm going to tell you guys why. Because you're gambling with hundreds of millions of people's lives, and that could be, you're also gambling with the existence of America's proxy in the Middle East as well. So let's go ahead and get into what he has to say, guys, with all this mumbo jumbo BS he always talks.
To Iran. They passed.
Let's see.
Nobody was buying from
Are you
Iran.
going to bring this back, the strategy back with Iran?
Different strategies. It all depends. Very fertile mind, different strategies. But they're very close to having a nuclear weapon. You have to understand, I didn't want much. All I wanted is you can never have a nuclear weapon. I didn't want much. I wanted Iran to be very successful. I just don't want them to have a nuclear weapon.
Right.
Because that's the real threat. The real threat isn't global warming. The real threat is nuclear warming. Okay? That's the real warming. Because, I'm the one that rebuilt our military. I rebuilt the whole military. And part of what I rebuilt is the nuclear. And I hated to do it, but we had to because China has it, Russia has it, et cetera. But I know more about nuclear than anybody because, and I can just only tell you this, the power is obliteration, okay? It's not, I always say it's not 2 army tanks running around
What's
each
going to
other.
happen to Iran with you by the end of your administration?
I'm not asking I would like
tactics,
to see Iran be very successful. The only thing is they can't have a nuclear weapon.
Are you okay with the same administration and way of governing stays, or would you like to see it go back to the 70s when Shah's was running it and Iran was one of the top 3 countries in tourism?
We can't get totally involved in all. We can't run ourselves. Let's face it.
Sure.
Patrick, we can't run ourselves.
You put sanctions, they don't have, the people are going to turn and flip on them. It's not going to be.
All right, let's translate the BS, guys. So this is the reality, and as it stands, Israel's trying to drag the United States into a full-blown war with Iran, regardless of who the president is going to be. Trump can't stop it. The other chick can't stop it. And this is why it's a really dumb. They're really just out here playing stupid games and getting stupid results, because the fact of the matter is, if Israel decides to make the idiotic decision and use a nuclear weapon on Iran, and Iran decides to respond, and one of the top generals in the IRGC said yesterday, he said, we have something stronger than a nuclear bomb. So he's saying we don't even have to announce that we do have nuclear bombs. We have something stronger. Okay, and he verbatim said that confidently as possible. And I'm sure, look, the Mossad and all these people, the Israel and their intelligence agencies, they're not stupid. Someone's coming up to Netanyahu and being like, hey, look, man, if we use a nuclear bomb on Iran, they'll use 3 or 5 of these. I don't know what the hell is stronger than a nuclear bomb, right? They could use one of these bombs, 3 or 5 of this, the entire state of Israel's over with. All right, everybody's gonna bounce. Okay, it's over with. So he knows that reality, and he doesn't want to go to war directly with Iran. You guys gotta understand this thing, is that Israel does not want to go into a direct confrontation with Iran. Okay, Netanyahu is trying to drag everybody into going to war with Iran other than himself. Okay, and anybody who thinks otherwise does not understand what's going on in the region. He wants to drag the United States. He wants to drag Azerbaijan. He wants to drag Turkey. He wants to drag anyone who's against Iran to go to war against Iran. And if Trump gets elected, he's going to force Saudi Arabia and the Gulf countries to use their U.S. bases in the region to attack Iran. Okay. Israel's not going to war with Iran. Because Iran would literally, it'll just be a nuclear holocaust, and Israel would essentially be destroyed. Okay. And they're gambling with over 100 million people's lives, guys. This is a serious situation. And you got this clown Trump coming in saying, "Oh, well, we have to use nukes on Iran." He's been the most provocative to Iran. Okay, first he killed Qasem Soleimani, third in the IRGC. Then he created some nuclear cluster bunker buster bomb that he said this is specifically designed to be used on Iran's nuclear power plant, which Russia has already warned them. He said, don't touch that shit. Okay? Because Russia has strategic ties to Iran in the region. Russia has Russian bases in Syria. Syria is now a Russian colony, so Russia has to get involved. Okay, so now you got a war between the U.S., Russia, and a bunch of other nations, right, to take control over the Middle East. And you got the wild card, China and East Asia, that has over millions of soldiers ready to take over Taiwan and possibly send troops over. North Korea's already sending troops over to Russia, right? And this clown's over here still talking his bullshit. Like, dude, stop playing stupid games. You're playing stupid games with a lot of people's lives. And these sick neocons, these sick, devilish neocons in the U.S. government, right, are literally egging this stuff on, guys. It's mind blowing.
I think if you would
when I handed it over, I told them, right now, make a deal with Iran. They'll do anything. They want to make a deal with me. They wanted, had that election not been rigged and stolen, I will tell you right now, we would have no problems anywhere in the world. Just before construction was started.
They've lost credibility at this point. But with Iran, so here's one thing. The reason why I'm asking this, I lived in Iran almost 11 years, and I was,
Are you Iranian?
I was Armenian, mother side, Assyrian, father side. You gave a shout out to Assyrians the other day in Arizona. It was great seeing Assyrians for Trump. But I'm asking,
why they were there? They were so nice. I met this. They said the Assyrians. They said, "Could you give us a shout out?" I said, "Who are you?" I didn't know. They said, "We're Assyrians." I said, "What does that mean?" But they were really nice people. And I said, "I think I mispronounced it a little." But I said,
"You did. You got to write this down." But going back to Iran, so. Last topic on this, I just want to clear this up. So, Qasem Soleimani, you take him out. That's their hero. That's their general pattern. When you take him out, they want to seek vengeance. So now, hey, they're targeting you. They're coming after you. Assassination attempts, all this stuff. They create these videos that they're going to come. We haven't forgotten that you took our hero out. Great. So Reagan, when Reagan got elected, remember they released, was it 59 prisoners who had been held hostage for 444 days, if I'm getting the numbers right. Can you see 59, 444 days? What's the number?
52 Americans, 444
days. Boom. The minute inauguration, they released them. Khomeini, right? And it's like, oh, this guy's going to do something about it. This is my question for you. Say you win November 5th. Say it's a landslide. Say it's done, okay? From November 5th to your... going back to putting your hand in inauguration on the stage. During that time, that season, what do you think is going to happen during that season? Is during that season Russia-Ukraine going to be done? During that season, you think it's going to be that quickly? Or do you think it's going to be after?
I think the world's going to behave, and I think I will settle Russia, Ukraine while I'm president-elect.
While you're president-elect?
While I'm president-elect.
Wow.
You need that credibility.
Sure.
While I'm president-elect, I will settle it. I met with Zelensky the other day. I have good relationship with Putin and with Zelensky.
He didn't look too happy standing next to you, though.
Well, look, this is a war that should have never happened. You have millions of people that are dead, much more than you're reading about. When you see these, I was amazed at how big. I'm in the real estate business, to put it mildly.
Sure.
So I know buildings. Those buildings were massive. They were long rather than tall. They were 12 to 15 stories. but they went like for blocks. They were massive buildings. Rockets were hitting the buildings. They were collapsing. A lot of people were killed. You hear 2 people were injured. No. Many people were killed. That war is much more deadly than they're telling you. It has to be settled. But here's the problem. It should have never happened. If I were president, that war would have never happened. Putin would have never done it. The war would have never happened.
You're saying,
without even a settlement. Without even a settlement.
But you're saying after November 5th, as a elect, you're saying things are going to get done during that time?
I'd like to be able to
How about Iran and Israel? What about that one?
Well, that depends. A lot's happening right now.
Uh-oh.
See what happens.
It depends.
That one is a very interesting one. And it's become more interesting because Israel didn't listen to Biden and her and did what they wanted to do. And they put themselves in a pretty strong position. I mean, let's face it. Who would have thought this was going to happen? Everybody was very afraid of Iran. They're less afraid of Iran now. What they did to Hezbollah and Hamas, if you take a look at
Nasrallah, they took everybody out. I mean, the pagers there.
No, the whole thing with the pagers.
Right.
It was from the pagers because those were your leaders. I mean, those were the leaders. It was like 2,000.
All right, guys, let's translate the bullshit, man. So, number one, guys, so far, none of their war goals have been accomplished in Gaza. That is the weakest link to Iran. This is the 4th time they're going into Jabalia refugee camp, guys. 4 times they've had to send troops in there, and they're getting decimated, and they're not able to get rid of Hamas there. Probably never will, right? And this is just in Gaza. And they're suffering taking huge, major losses in southern Lebanon. Even though that they try to cover it up and, cover it up with flowers and make it seem like it's everything's cool and dandy. They have their little propaganda videos they're coming out with. The reality of it is, guys, none of their war goals or their aims have been completed yet. And the whole point is not to even complete any of these war goals. The point of Netanyahu's campaign is to eventually drag the United States into a regional war with Iran. Whether Trump likes it, whether Kamala likes it, whether he could sit there and say that he doesn't want to get involved in that, he's going to have to get involved in it. All right, especially since he's been taking a lot of donor money recently. We've realized that, that he's already been getting called out for that. But yeah, man, it's a year into the war. And this is the 4th time they're going into a Jabalia refugee camp. Go look it up, guys. 4 times they sent forces in there. Can't get rid of them. Okay? So who are you, why are you guys playing all these stupid games and winning stupid prizes? Okay? And you're playing with this nuclear weapon stuff. Right? Risking the lives of over 100 million people. Oh, but they don't matter because they're Arabs, right? Or they're Middle Eastern. It's just sick, man. And you got to sit here and listen to this guy yap and saying he's going to end this and end that. The same guy who made a nuclear cluster bunker buster bomb specifically designed to take out Iran's nuclear power plants, and the same guy who ordered the hit on Qasem Soleimani in wasn't even in Iran. It was in Iraq, a different country, right? And by the way, they did respond and they hit the U.S. air bases, and it was underreported, but I think at least a good number of troops suffered severe traumatic brain injuries that he called them headaches, right? So the guy's a clown, man. Anyone who's voting for him and thinking this guy's going to end anything is completely useless, man. Literally. Okay? He hasn't given us any plan in sight to end the European war. Neither has he given us any plan in sight to, at least the Biden administration, we know that they don't know what the hell's going on, and they're just being controlled by whoever's funding their they're just puppets. This guy's literally putting a face on as if he's going to make the decisions on what really happens on the world stage. Just stop, man. Just stop.